Hello. See if anybody comes in here. I know the notifications have been kind of screwy here. But I did hear 2 phones off in the house. Big Rich, what's up? Big Tex. See Pat. Roscoe, what's up? Mr. Chapstick. New Beef Steve. Provost Motorsports, Sean Price. Daniel Nottingham, Light Bright. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Philip, Jason Berry, the professor. What's up? It is Saturday night. Figured we'd do our live feed. Did one a couple of days ago, just kind of say hi. It's getting better. It's getting better. Brett, how's it going? James Neal's getting better there. The sides of the foot around the ankle are still pretty decently swollen. But it is getting better. So it doesn't hurt to walk on it. I say it back. It's tender. But the main thing is not moving in a certain way because we gotta, as Doug Smith brings up, we gotta make sure the bone's healing correctly. Or else I probably, with the right pair of boots would feel okay about getting on the truck next week. But we are playing on the side of caution. Because there is, there's no back, there's no, I don't have any, at Schneider I had disability, long and short term. I have not set myself up for that. And this has been kind of a wake up call that I need to get something like that in place. So, but I figured I'd go live. It's cold here in Missouri. It was 23 degrees this morning. We had snowfall late last night. Not too much, though. Basically, just a dusting. As hard as it is to predict Missouri weather, they've been a lot better about it. Whereas, 10 years ago, they'll sit there and say, oh, we'll get anywhere from 1 to 8 inches. Because they couldn't figure it out. So, yeah, it is cold everywhere. I agree there, Mr. Best. I agree. So, Big Rich has got his name back. Enjoying the home time, yeah. So, hopefully, this winter stuff will be done by the time we get back. So, and I'm ready to get back. I am sick of TV. I'm sick of the internet. I'm sick of Facebook. I'm sick of all of it. It's been nice to hang out with the family, have dinner with them every night. But we got to go back to creating the stack. So, yeah, I had a friend of mine there, Daniel Nottingham says winter all year long. I had a friend of mine that said, he was in Wyoming, I think yesterday, and was dealing with all that snow and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, someone said, I guess Wyoming didn't get the memo it was spring. I said, yeah, they don't get that memo till June. Yeah, I hear you, James Vest. Big Rich is finally going to go back to work. Yeah, CPAP, that has been nice, not dealing with the weather and not having the stress or, I still watch the weather every morning. It's kind of a habit. Doug Smith, actually, the first 2 weeks were the worst. This week has been bad because, if I put my boot on, I can get up and around. Today, my daughter had this thing with her band music. She plays the cello, and so we dealt with that. Um, and so it was good to get out of the house then. I've been picking her up every day from school, um, to help the wife out. I've done a couple of chores around the house, but trying to keep it, I don't want to screw up anything. Pale Rider's in the house. Jess Clark, what's up? Yeah, I know, Big Rich, dealing with the woman problems. So, but yeah, the first week where I couldn't really move. It hurt. I had to use crutches just to go from point A to point B. Um, that 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 sucked because I was tied to the chair basically. So, of course, recent events. My news feed has been in Facebook has been, it's almost like the political climate again. So that's kind of depressing. Kaislyn, hey James, 2350 after all deductions for the week. Wow. Daniel, probably at least one more week. My doctor's appointment is on 13th. And depending on what he says and how the bone's healing, then I'll use the weekend to test out my clutch foot, maybe get a pair of boots, and then book something for Monday. So next Monday, not this Monday. So drinking a lot of tea, and I've actually lost weight because I'm not eating that truck stop crap. And since I'm home, can't go anywhere for the most part. We haven't we've gone out to eat a couple of times, but so even then that's been diminished. Iron Skillet. Yeah, it's Friday the 13th. That's my doctor's appointment. I'm not a superstitious guy though, so. Right, Doug Smith. Yeah, it's like it feels better, but one little wrong move, and we're fragile. So don't want to. What's funny is there's a YouTuber. She's new. She's going through training right now at Prime. Her name is Farrah Green, Route 66, baby. And she had a video. I guess she's at her trainer's house. And they have one of those hover things, those two-wheeled things that you stand on. That there's like literally 1,000 videos of people falling on them. She did that and fell and, and hurt her leg a little bit. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. So, Farrah, if you're watching, don't do it. I vowed to make more of an effort. Big Rich says I vowed to make more of an effort towards working on my health, cooking out of the truck, drinking more Fiji water, walking more. Big Rich, I'm right there with you. Get a boot for downhill snow skiing that locks your ankle foot into a rigid position and shift away. You want me to head out your way, then when you're ready to roll, I could be your trucking date. I can open trailer doors like no other. Sean Price. Sean, I saw that you're having some truck issues. Same thing with Pale Rider. And I've been there. Those trucks are expensive. Trucks are expensive. Daniel says he's having rate issues in Indiana. Let's talk about that for a second, Daniel. Since this is a trucking channel. I'm a part of two pages on Facebook. One is the Rate Per Mile Masters, and one is the, what's the other one called, Rich? Um, it's funny. Someone will get on one of those pages and sit there and say, "Oh, I'm making 225 a mile, all miles, lanes and rates." Okay, thank you, Big Rich. And then you got all these people insult. Oh man, I'm getting $4 a mile every day. Blah 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 blah. And it's it just becomes a urination contest because now I do believe that some people are getting those rates, but it's funny they get all offended when the broker literally, like one guy posted his emails back and forth with the broker and is, oh look, I must have made him mad. And then there's a lot of posts on these pages, broker versus driver, they're the enemies, that kind of thing. And it all goes back to what I said several months ago, last August or so, is that it's all attitude. You know, most of these guys that brag about their rate don't know their cost per mile. Keith James, no notification. And guys, as I go throughout my YouTube video or YouTube channel, I'm inclined less and less to give advice because, number one, I don't know what I'm doing. Number two, um, everything is so individualistic. You know, I've got a friend of mine that went over to Schneider. His first week, he made more than most of the time that I was there. In his first week. On the gross side. We're not talking net. On the gross side. And the difference is that he has 17 years of truck driving experience. He's had 4 different leases, 3 or 4, I can't remember how many. So this isn't his first rodeo. And as he's meeting more Schneider drivers, more owner operators, he's seeing that the money's there. It's all in your attitude. And if you go to the Rate Per Mile Masters page or the Lanes and Rates page, it's all about attitude. That's the bottom line. And that's what everybody should be focusing. The numbers are out there. If you really want to know how to run a business, whether it's a truck, a bar, an ice cream shop, hot dog stand, whatever it is, it's all about math. You got to do the math. People are more concerned about the comfort of the truck, or they're more concerned about what brand of truck, or they're more concerned about about a lot of things that just really aren't that significant. And it's all about attitude. And I guarantee you that the majority of people that are not doing well, it's all on their attitude. Yeah, things happen. Trucks break down. That's something you can't control. You have an accident, company loses its contract, whatever. Those are all variables, right? And the classic saying, if I knew then what I know now, things would have went a lot different where I was at at the Blue Star. And and one of the trolls said that I had failed at Landstar. And that's not true. There's a lot of mistakes I made. I had to go through that struggle. Then once I started learning, then I realized the faults that I was coming up on, both from the Blue Star and myself. Then when I met Jeffrey, he told me about the partnership I could have at the Big Orange. And it fixed a lot of the problems, but there was still a personal issue that I had to deal with myself. If Schneider had not been an option, would I still be at Landstar? I don't know, but you can't sit there and say I failed. What is failure? You know, I didn't lose the house. I didn't lose the truck. I wasn't fired. I didn't lose my lease. So how is that a failure? Schneider's business model was a better fit. And now going into like trucking, now I've got the knowledge of 4 years of doing this and the knowledge of Jeff's 20 something years experience and the knowledge of Gear Grabber's 20 something years experience and everybody else I come up and meet through YouTube, through Facebook, in person. I have way more tools than I did when I first got handed the keys to the Peterbilt. And it's interesting, you guys are saying, Steve, you're not a failure, you're not a failure. And I appreciate that. But it's like, I've literally had people call me and say, hey, Steve, you are living my dream. I want nothing more than to be an owner operator at such and such company. You're living my dream. And then you got other people telling you that you're a failure. So what is the difference? What is the difference between those two people? It's not me. I'm doing the same thing. Right? It's the attitude. If you're a negative person that considers you not making $4 a mile on all miles and you're not driving a $200,000 truck, then, then yeah, there's probably a lot of failures in your world. Jeff, I hope you get to feeling better. Thoughts are with you, my friend. Burn that fever up, NyQuil it out for the next 3 days, and you'll feel better. Michael Dow, the difference is how you feel about yourself, right? So it's all perception. And, like for example, if you know somebody that's buying a truck and they specifically ask you, hey, should I buy this truck? I'm not going to say yes or no. Hey, Gear Grabber, what's up? Because who am I to say? Because I'm me. I know what works for me. I could tell you what I would look for. I would tell you what I would try to avoid. I would tell you what you want to, you know, to help yourself. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you, no, you should not buy that truck. You know? And, I was thinking about this. It's like, there's no way I can give that kind of advice. I had somebody text me today. He's talking about wanting to lease a trailer. And I know from experience that, by a couple of my friends are dealing with this already, that leasing a trailer is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But instead of sitting there going, no, don't lease a trailer, it's a bad idea, or you shouldn't lease a trailer, or just give up because you're not going to be able to lease a trailer with your experience, I'm more inclined to say, okay, well, leasing a trailer could be a good idea. However, you might want to look at this, this, and this. It's all attitude. Just like these people go, oh, these new DEF trucks. This was a discussion on one of the Facebook pages. These new DEF trucks are just junk, man. They're just junk. And then Shane Ferris, in all of his wisdom, kind of proved them, hey, you know what? I'm in charge of 20 of these things, or whatever number he said. I haven't had any issues at all. What's the difference between someone who loves the new trucks and someone who hates the new trucks? It's all perception. The truck is a truck. So attitude is the big thing. So attitude is where I'm going to focus on. Right. And James Best says, if I didn't lease a truck, I'd never be where I'm at now. Never. There's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. However, that's all based on personal perception. If you read the contract and you know the math and you feel that you can do that, you feel that the company you're contracted to can give you the money to help with that math, then what's the harm, right? Jess Clark says, no great business owner ever just walked into success. It was hard work, some failure, but that's how you get back up. And the key is set yourself up to where if you do have setbacks, that they don't affect you as much. In other words, don't, in my opinion, see, we're being careful here, in my opinion, don't do a second mortgage on the house to pay the bills. Don't do a mortgage on the house to get the truck. Don't put yourself in a situation where they could take your house and your car away. Right? Don't put yourself in a situation where your costs per mile are $1.20, but you're only making $1.10 a mile. Don't put yourself in a situation where you don't have a backup plan. Always think of the worst case scenario. Like injuring yourself. What's that going to cost me? What kind of insurance do I have in place if something major was to go down? What kind of emergency plan do I have in place? Just in case I have a stroke or heart attack out on the road, or I break my leg on the road because I can't walk. And same thing at home. What if something happens with my wife? What if something happens with my kids? You got to be prepared for all of that. So you put yourself in the situation, what is the worst case scenario? So when guys ask me, Steve, should I get a Snyder Finance truck? I go, well, it's going to cost you. As long as you got a backup plan to deal with the setbacks, because you're going to have setbacks. And I know Dan T's in here. Dan, You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have struggles. And if you don't struggle, guess what? What happens? You become complacent. Complacency is another big enemy of a business owner. I have seen so many businesses go out because of complacency. James Best says plan A, B, C, D, and E for escape. There you go. Struggle makes you stronger. All right. Let me go over a couple of other comments here. Doug Smith, much love, Snorler. Keep up positive vibes and the great message. Got to roll. Have a good night, Doug. The professor says they don't have the 4-color retractable pen. That's why they have the hatred. Oh, that's funny. My pen is special. Oh. And it is. It's like, what's that scene in Batman? Why do we fall? So we learn how to get back up. How do you learn to walk as a kid? You fall down, right? You know. Dan Smith says, I'm not planning for an easy ride. I do have some good people to learn from, though. There you go, Dan. Surround yourself with people that bring you up, that people will give you advice, people that will tell you this is how one might do this if your goals are this. And then you surround yourself with good people. And that's what I've done here at Like Trucking. You know, if there's something I'm unsure about, I talk to Jeff. And if he's not available, I talk to Gear Grabber. If I'm a little bit stressed out, Harold has talked me off the ledge. Sean's the only one I haven't talked to yet. James Best was really helpful, and we went back and forth on the plate and on the trailer stuff. And when Harold was, before he come over to Like, I knew that he was going to be a good fit simply because of his mentality. And then Big Rich is always talking about lifting people up, wishing success, because the more successful we all are, the better the industry becomes. You know? And, you know, I had people tell me, you know, when I first decided, when we first decided to buy the first truck, I had a lot of people tell me, oh, I don't know, Steve, I don't know. And one of the people I looked up to was Pale Rider, because he had already paid off one truck. I mean, he was on his second truck. He was an inspiration to me. Actually, he wasn't in his second truck at that point. And that's how we became friends. You know, we started talking, and, you know, and Pale Rider gets it done with hard work. Right? How do you get through hard work, perseverance? It's all attitude. So, have a backup plan. Don't gamble that much. And if you feel just a little bit uncomfortable, that's a good thing, because you're out of your comfort zone, and that's where you're learning. It's that struggle. That's where you're learning. You know? And that's my message. And if people get mad at that message, then they're part of the problem. Benjamin Duke says, self-doubt is a big boat that has a lot of people on it. See you at the top, far too many people at the bottom. I think Manowar, for you metalheads in here, they have the crowd will laugh and crowd the path. They will fall like melting snow. That's all it is. Yeah. I'm not the smartest business owner. There's a lot of things that I need improvement on. There's a lot of things that I'm still learning with this new system of finding loads. There's a lot of information I've absorbed from Jeff, from Gear Grabber, from Harold, from James Best, and Sean when I get to know him. I talk a lot with Berger. You know, my friend James, the new guy at Schneider. He's been instrumental in a lot of my learning, and he's learned a lot from me as well. And you can only do what you can only do. It's like parenting. For those of you who have kids, there's no secret formula. There's no formula for perfection. Big Rich has been a lot of help for me. You know, Dan Smith, I was told by a manager once to second guess everything you do. I told him that was a bad attitude to have. You question decisions, but once you make a decision, you never second guess it. I don't know, Dan. I disagree with that a little bit. It's, and I say a little bit because you can question your decisions. Like there are times when I'm like, maybe was it a good idea to buy that Peterbilt? You know, but then once the cards are dealt, then you got to deal with it. So I agree with that part, but you want to be able to make a decision, but then once you make that decision, then you have to commit to it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems at the Big Orange is that it's easy to get out. If you're doing a Schneider Finance truck, it's easy to get out. So I recommend people to say, well, if you don't know if the owner operator life is for you, go to SFI for a year and learn. Some guys master it. Some guys don't. Some guys go, you know what, this isn't for me. Did they fail? No. They just found an avenue that doesn't work. So you want to keep an open mind with your decisions. Peter Jacobs, CDL school in 2 weeks. Well, good luck to you. You're about to enter the dark side. Anthony T, what's up? Jess Clark. See, it's truckers like you, Jeff, James, Ike, that make me feel like there are truckers in YouTube that actually care about other drivers, not just looking for a recruitment bonus. Well, I appreciate that, Jess. Yeah, when I did Landstar videos, it wasn't for recruiting. When I did Schneider, it wasn't for recruiting. And for Like, it's not recruiting. I get asked a lot of questions for all those companies. But, Schneider's got a killer referral program. I'll give them that. And, at Like Trucking, we can't grow too fast. So, my videos have always been about just, here's my story. Watch if you want. If the first avenue doesn't work, put in reverse, try another avenue, right? Not for YouTube, I may never got my CDL. James Best, I agree with you there. Tell you what, guys, this is how I got into trucking. I'm second generation. I've always been into trucks, even before my dad was a truck driver. I literally watched the movie Convoy. I'm I'm not joking here. 200 times at least. I know every line, every nuance of that movie. Then when my dad became a truck driver, it was just even that much cooler. Hey, Adam. And when it came time to graduate high school, my dad made it very clear he did not want me to become a truck driver. I will honestly say that my dad would not have been one of the positive guys out here. Okay. So I struggled. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in my life because everything that I wanted to do was just like, nope, can't do it. Okay. Then, of course, you have kids, you fall in love, have kids, and all that stuff, right? So once I had a family life going, it was just not an option, right? Well, I became a pretty good welder. That was my thing. I became a welder. And I got tired of manufacturing. I got tired of jobs going to Mexico. I got tired of layoffs and what a lot of these factories do is they lay you off, and then you go to Penmac or some temp service, and then they hire you back through the temp service. You get half the pay and no benefits, right? I was tired of that. So thinking that I can't become a truck driver, I'm going to learn how to drive a school bus. I'm decent with kids, and it looked like a fun job, and I took to it like fish to water. I love that job. And I thought, this will cure that little get your CDL bug. I had a Class B CDL. This will cure that. This will cure that. No, it made it worse. Started watching TV shows like Ice Road Truckers, Trick My Truck, and it just made it worse. So we made a few moves in the house. Man, then trucking became a reality thanks to some very helpful friends and my knowledge that I gained from my dad. My dad is no longer with us. So and I've learned early, like, driving a school bus, the people that had the worst attitudes had the worst time with their kids. They had the worst time with their routes. They had the worst time with their buses. And the ones with the better attitudes that loved the job had an easier time. There you go, Professor. I do have a convoy tattoo on my person. It's on my leg. Derek says Snyder 7,500 referral bonus. Yep, it is. Dan says the truck I'm getting is a 66-week lease. I should be able to make that and save money to buy a truck. Now, that's a good plan, Dan. That's a good plan. I used to tell people that if you have less than 5 years experience, it was going to be hard for you to get a truck on your own. But then there's always that one person, well, I went right to my bank and I got one, right? Christian Trucker, what's up? And so I don't tell people that anymore. I just tell them, it might be a challenge, but some people can get through it. I don't want to sit there and paint a pretty picture for them, but I don't want to discourage them either. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. Peter Jacobs says, I'm currently an automotive technician getting tired of manufacturers cutting flat rate time and advisors wanting to fix cars for free. Peter Jacobs, there are a lot of mechanics that have CDLs. Steve Berger is one of them. Christian Trucker's in here. If you guys want to learn about Schneider numbers, he does a good Schneider numbers video. He's got a fairly positive attitude towards everything. Christian Trucker's up north a little bit. But see, he knows where the money is. William Worthington, what's up? Dan says, I was pre-approved for 2 trucks, but they wanted more down than I had at the time, and I didn't want to borrow any from friends or family. There you go, Dan. You're being smart. You know, it's... You're... I think you're in a good direction. Daniel Dami, what's up? Jess Clark says, I like the weekly numbers he posts helps a lot of my decision making with Snyder. So it goes back to my first thing I said in this video was it's all about math, guys. When all else fails, it's all about math. Okay, if your truck costs more than the money you make, you're going to struggle. If your overhead's too high in any business, you're going to struggle. Notice I didn't use the word fail. I just said struggle. Guys, I've been watching Shark Tank. You guys familiar with that TV show Shark Tank? Every night, at least on weeknights, from like 6 o'clock till like 10 o'clock, they just do these marathons. And it's interesting to see the people that come in and their sales pitches. There was one that this guy came in and he just had the worst attitude. He didn't come out of there with the deal. But then there was this 15-year-old girl that came in with lacrosse equipment. And she was so well-spoken, so just on top of her game, more than most of these emotional adults that were just, digging their own hole, There was one guy that went from all the sharks fighting over him to walking out with no deal because he just wouldn't shut up. He was trying some sketchy stuff too. But I love that show. Yukon, what's up? And that should show you right there that it's all attitude. You can sit there and have all the passion. That's the thing. These people come on that show like, oh, I'm passionate about this. I'm passion. Okay, we get it. You've worked hard, you get it. But passion can only take you so far. And you got to channel that passion in the right way to succeed in anything. Because when you have those setbacks, when you have those moments where you fall down, when you have those moments that you're like, what am I doing? And we've all had them. Then that's where passion comes in and says, okay, you know what? We're gonna hold you for a little bit here, but you got to get smarter so we don't have to be emotional as much. You're dead to me, the professor. Obviously, you watch the show too. 4,000 grand in the hole the first day of the month every month. That's fixed expenses only. Add fuel, payroll, and miscellaneous. You get the big picture, right, Michael Dow? Mike Mentor, what's up? Berger sent me a cents per mile spreadsheet, so that'll help a lot. There you go. And there's the Truckin' Pro program. There's the Truckin' Office program that Jeff's pushing right now. Steve Berger uses a spreadsheet that he's created. You got CPAP that was using pen and paper. You got Christian Trucker that's old school on that. As long as you're tracking the numbers, this is my numbers from 2017, guys. And it's all in here, all the details. Even though I had the computer program, I have all these numbers here, all these numbers. It looks like one of Christian Trucker's whiteboards, right? And I started to try to keep that Widows at Landstar, but I wasn't religious about it. I wasn't consistent with it. And then when I finally did, I had this reality check. Guess what, Steve? You're making a good rate per mile, but you're taking too long between loads. Cost per mile, revenue needs are key to making it work. Always know your numbers. Even if you do everything right, there's still a risk, like breaking a leg. Wink, wink. Yeah. Anthony says, I use pen and paper and shoebox for receipts. Well, yeah, that's what we did in the old days, right? It's kind of what I did. It is. Here's where I learned how to be better organizing. When I go to do taxes, how much frustration do I have to feel before I figure out, you know what? Put all the receipts in this envelope, Steve. Put all the receipts here, Steve. Do this with the receipts, Steve. Do this with your paperwork, Steve. You know? And, the first year, I was that guy with the receipts in the shoebox. Okay? Second year, they were organized and copied. But there were still, several shoeboxes, right? Third year, I don't know, maybe this was the third year. I've lost track. But this year, everything was digital. I sent an email. Boom, it was all done. I got it all on a CD. I still have the physical copies. This is it right here. This is Tax and Truck Steve, right? I have all the receipts right here in envelopes, separated by either month. This is all 2017. So if I get audited, boom, there all is, right? This year it's going to be a little bit different because, got a different system going. I have different things. I bought a trailer this year, so. Profit gauges, that's another one a lot of people like. I like facts, black and white, whether that be on blackboard or paper. Yukon. Okay. Air Vaquero, what's up? The thing with any program that you buy, you just got to do it. If you're good about putting your numbers on a paper or whiteboard or whatever, then you can put it in a computer. You just got to find the program that works best for you. I know Burger's got a pretty easy spreadsheet that comes together. As long as you're doing it, that's what matters. Or have someone else doing it for you. Like a spouse or family member, someone that you trust. So, if you're the kind, that's the thing. You have to look at your weakness. Okay, if my weakness is paperwork, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself up with either a family member or pay somebody on the outside to handle that paperwork, where all I got to do is give them that shoebox of receipts and they'll deal with it, because that's my weakness. I don't want to deal with this. So, and you have to recognize that. You have to recognize your faults. You have to recognize when you need help. Right, James Best. Having the program won't do you any good if you don't plug in the right info. Right. That's absolutely right. Sometimes paper and pens are cheaper than a computer. Got to watch the cost and if you're tech savvy. Right. This thing here did a good job. If I was able, if I had been putting every single expense in here, which I didn't, this was mainly gross and net numbers at Snyder. That's all this was. Hanging out in the bar with Joey Belladonna. L7, I didn't know they were still around there, Yukon. But it takes a certain amount of attitude, certain amount of mentality to deal with that. You have to be able to sit there and recognize the fact that, you know what? I kind of suck at this part, so I need to fix that. So, and again, that's all attitude. And you got to go out of your comfort zone. I'll tell you what, guys, making the move from Schneider to Like Trucking, that was not an easy task. That took a lot of thought. It took a lot of it took a little bit of money, and it took a little bit of just of a lot of BS to go through. And to sit there and own a trailer too, at one point a friend of mine said, "Wow, you're laying out a lot. And he made it sound like I was gambling, like I was making like not a huge risk is not the word he wanted to use, but like that's a big step, right?" And I told him I had no hesitation doing that for Jeff. I had no hesitation going to Like Trucking with that, with that trailer. Anywhere else, I'd be nervous. But then I looked at the worst case scenarios. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? How can I get out of, like what can I do to sell the trailer? I've got a plan for that. But we're making things work. So the first step is you might go to an SFI truck or a lease truck, and then the next step is buying your own truck. And then the next step is buying your own trailer and getting your own plates. There's a progression. There's a natural progression. But I'll be honest with you guys. There was a point where I was sitting there going, "Wow, I own this truck and trailer," and it made me feel like, wow, I never once said, did I make the right decision? I know I made the right decision, but at the same time, it's go time. It's like, okay, you got to step it up, Steve. You got to step up your game. You got to step up your game on running your business. And then I go break my leg. Orion, what's up? I'm doing better, Orion. I appreciate it. Michael Dallas is speaking of new trailers. Looked at a 2019 utility, 33 grand. Ouch. That's about the going rate. 28 to 33, depending on how many bells and whistles you want. Mine came out to 29. I still have a pigtail issue on my truck I got to deal with. Hopefully deal with that next week. Christian said he did his own for the first time this year. Taxes? You're a braver man than I. James Best says, my mechanic asked, what the hell was I thinking buying a truck? I said, you only see the bad, I see the good. See, James Best, that's awesome. That's exactly what I was talking about. I had the mechanic over at Transland tell me, hey, how come you're leaving? I said, well, I'm buying a truck. He's like, oh, that's a bad idea. Why? Because his job, his career is based around trucks failing mechanically. And he sees the costs. He sees how shops work and everything. Me buying a trailer was pretty brave, but what James Best did, within a year time, within a 6-month period of time, he went from giving up his lease truck to traded in for, his own truck, and then his own trailer, and then his own plate. It's like he went from, okay, I'm going to start here, and then he went, vroom. And like, he did in several months what took me 3 years to accomplish. And I'm like, that's probably why Jeff said he was a good fit for Like Trucking, because he's a determined individual that gets it done. All right, Jess. Looked into Vanguard, it was 28, so you're right on the money. Yeah. All heavy trucks have repairs, old, new, doesn't matter. It will need repairs when it's When is a big question, right? Pretty crazy. You hurt your leg and only did a few loads, and from the loads, you're able to survive okay money wise. There you go, Mike. There you go. Why? Because I keep my overhead low, and the rates pay that well. I've done a total of 9 loads for Jeff so far. And had it not been for the clutch of the truck, I'd be sitting even prettier right now. But, we'll be rolling as soon as we can, and I'll be putting the nose to the grind. But I have to be smart about it. I can't just do like my first trip going to Florida because it pays a quick, easy $3,000. I gotta be patient. Starbucks. It is. It's a little Starbucks cup my daughter gave me. I've got tea in it now. What I do is I boil some tea and I put in this big Yeti cup and then I just pour it as we go because it doesn't get cold in this. So yeah, no fancy Starbucks here, just the cup. Yeah, it is a crazy ride, James Best. Yeah, Ryan, we got a dusting. Not even an inch. It was all melted by the end of the day. I mean, it's still cold, but it's, the sun came out. Snyder has a bunch of white trailers for sale. Saw them last night. Might someone money. Huh. That's weird. Thomas Wilson, I'm doing all right. No, I'm not driving yet. What happened that you're not talking to new guys on the phone? I miss hearing from you. Thomas, I've just been at home. You're in the cool club. I haven't talked to a whole lot of people at home. I just had somebody that texted me out of the blue and said that I was a failure and I don't know what I did to piss him off. So that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not giving out my number anymore. So, oh man, everybody going to Florida for melons. Daniel, I will not be going to Florida for melons because number one, I don't have vents in the trailer. And number two, I've seen the frustration my dad dealt with watermelons. I'm sure things haven't changed that much. Watermelons, Christmas trees, pumpkins are 3 things I will not do. Archie, I'm doing all right. The choice curse, Lafayette. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, you're right. Those white trailers are probably walking shepherd trailers. If you have the means to let that leg heal, years ago I made the mistake of going back before I was even close to being ready. After breaking my left leg, it came back to bite me in the back hard. Yeah, Ryan, I'm being really careful. I mean, like I feel good enough that I could probably get in the truck, but we're not going to play that game until I see the doctor. And even then, I'm doing all these precautions, to make sure that when I get back in the truck, it's going to be like, because I don't want to be out on the road and suddenly screw something up real quick, while I'm out on the road, because then I'm looking at trying to get the truck back to the house, get the load delivered and all that stuff. So, I know, Ryan, I know. I just blocked them on my phone and it's no big deal. Acme, that's funny. No vents in your trailer. Yeah, you got the whole fix, right? Yeah, the only vent I got is a bullet hole in the roof. Yukon. I was watching that show, that ridiculous, stupid show, Shipping Wars, right? And this lady, she's the one with the red Volvo, and I lasted 15 minutes with this show. I couldn't take it. I'd heard about the show. I thought, oh, it's on, flip. Shh. And she picked up a load of trees on her flatbed, and it was just like, yep, nope, not for the rate she was doing it at. What about Nestle water, Snorlord? What about Nestle water? That was one of my go-to loads at the Big Orange there out of Dallas. Ghost Rider, what's up? I'm doing all right. As an IC, is there a chance for dedicated? Jess, I don't know, but I I I don't I don't like I think dedicated is something that a lot of people like strive for, and I kind of disagree because it locks you in. You don't, unless it's a ridiculous rate and a gravy job, that's where dedicated could come in handy. But for the most part, the idea of the choice board is the freedom to pick and choose your loads. And to put yourself on a dedicated, you might as well be dispatched. And I don't agree with that line of thinking. I mean, to each their own. If that's what works for you because you don't want to self dispatch, um, and then that's fine. If you'd rather be the person that you get told what to do, that's fine. But then but you can kind of create semi-dedicated, Jess. You can kind of like start just doing the same customers as long as you know their loads and you can pay the bills with those loads. Then you kind of become semi-dedicated, but it's not like something set in stone. You just do the same loads. If you do the same loads, then everything's familiar, and it becomes a little bit easier. And that's fine, Jess Clark. Did you see the guy get truck in Houston today? Yep, that was Spectre, Archie. James Rogers is his real name, and he and I talked quite a bit. He kind of helped me when I was looking to get my plate in Missouri. He had some information for me, um, and so I've talked with him a little bit. Yeah, that was cool that he got his truck. So, so congrats to him if he's watching. Flatbed plants could be easy with enough hands on deck to help. That burlap trap is a huge mess by oneself. Right, Benjamin. My wife is fussing at me for being on YouTube. I'm cooking right now. I sneak back in a few minutes. All right, Thomas. Next gen, what's up? I hate doing water loads. Usually try to load heavy like an overweight weight permit and a heavy haul truck. Um, Sorry for multitasking. I have several things going on at the same time. Disregard Steam. Well, Jess Clark, if you're done with being dispatched, you want to be in control of your money, then just do the loads that you like to do and call that. You wouldn't call it dedicated, but um, that way, you know, sky's the limit. Right, Benjamin. Orion says I'm looking to tag or looking to do something interstate, just local only, keep me busy. I'm going to tag the old beast and run Tyson in bars only. That's cool, Orion. Yeah, I saw that you got a new tattoo next gen. I think you get a new tattoo like once a week. I think you had quite a bit when I met you. You're probably like all limbs are fully sleeved. Nothing wrong with that. I've got a $75 gift certificate I need to use up. before June. So I'll be getting inked here probably fairly soon. I've been emailing brokers trying to set up dedicated lanes. Almost had something that would have had me home every day and make $1,500 a day, but it didn't work out. Says Big Rich. I started pulling loads out of Owensboro, paying the truck $2.57 a mile. Cool, Archie. Awesome. James Vest. No, he did not get a Kenworth emblem. Although he takes a lot of his pictures of his pretty Peterbilt he's got. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets tatted on him. Just kidding there, next gen. Almost out of tea. Tea will be my cigar. Just like James. James has his cigars. Bugatti, we're getting better. We're getting better. We're getting better. So, anyways, guys, this has been a good discussion. We're just a little over the hour. Next gen, it's getting better. Ryan rules. Oh, I have a couple ideas what my next ink's going to be, but I haven't made a decision yet. Nothing's jumped out at me. I will say this: my favorite truck was a 680, but not very partial on the PACCAR. Jess Clark. Well, you know that's another thing. You can't ask truck drivers which truck to buy because you have to go by the numbers. You have to go the initial cost of the truck, cost for maintenance. You know, when I bought my truck, I asked the guy what's the difference between the Cummins and PACCAR, and he pretty much said, well, with the Cummins, you go to any shop that's Cummins certified. PACCAR, you have to take it to a dealership. If I had my choice, I would have gotten the Cummins. And that's pretty much all I've driven most of my career. I had a Cat for a minute, for a couple months when I was at Transland. Then I had a Volvo engine. That was the first truck I was ever in out of CDL school. So I don't have any experience with Detroit. And, you know, just like anything else, there's good and bad, you know. Yeah, dealer prices. You're right, James Best. Like if James Best and I had the same exact problems with our trucks, like let's say both of our turbos go out at the same time, he could take it to any Cummins shop and it won't cost him an arm and a leg. Me, I'll have to take it to a dealership. Now, I originally was going to try to get a Cummins, but like Dan Smith ran into the new truck I was looking at when I was looking to get rid of the Peterbilt. They wanted like an extra 10 grand down that I had. I didn't have that, and I wasn't about to put myself in debt because a brand new truck can put you on the side of the road. Orion says the newer PACCARs aren't too bad. The older ones are the devil. The PACCARs are a little gutless unless you get it geared right. But then the RPM is higher than most others. I agree with you, Orion. Food Mooch, welcome back. So, for those of you looking to get a truck, you know, run the numbers and just do your research, you know. Like, you know, let's say you're looking at a 2016 Volvo with a Volvo engine, okay? Google problems with 2016 Volvo engine. Google all that. And then you're going to see what people have been running into. You're going to find the forums that will tell you, okay, the injectors or whatever tends to go out, or the turbos go out at this many miles, or, you know, because every year, every model, every truck, every engine, glider or not, has certain issues, certain times. Okay. And the newer the truck, the more everything's computerized, so the more potential for small problems to become big problems. And then it's all about how it's geared. It all depends on what you're hauling. It all depends what your goals are. If you're doing 45,000 pounds through the mountains of Pennsylvania all the time, um, you're gonna look for strength and durability. And then if you're running out west all the time in like the desert, the Southwest where it's flat, you're looking for fuel efficiency. If you're running the Northwest, then more power to you. Um, so, um, but it depends what you're hauling too. You don't want to do certain jobs with fleet trucks, and you don't want to do fleet truck jobs with the custom. Unless you're willing to put up the extra headaches that might come with that. Thor's got a custom truck. It's probably not the most fuel efficient thing, but he knows that, and he bases his business around that. So, you know, um, and then it also depends if you're buying used or new. If you're buying used, you got to look at the history of the truck. You got to look at what company the truck was originally signed on with and how they treat their trucks. Um, and if you're buying brand new, then make sure you got a kick butt warranty that will cover everything to where you're not worried about it. If you're sitting in the hotel room, you're not worried about it. Hi, Steve. So running an automatic was an option to get back to work sooner. Rhymes with orange. I don't think the clutch is going to be the problem. It's getting it out of the truck. I gotta be careful about that. Um, Guys, rental trucks are not easy to get. Number one. Number two, they're expensive. Whenever you see a guy in a yellow Penske truck hauling butt past you, um, if he's in a rental, those things can go for as high as $500 a day. I mean, they're expensive. You know, um, but the clutch is not going to be the problem. The problem is getting it out of the truck. What did Yukon say? He was out. Come see Yukon tear it up in guitar with exposure at Bull and Bear Roadhouse night at 10:30. There you go. There's your plug for you there. My payment is $416 a week on my 2018 Cascade. So far, so good. Archie, that is a good deal. That is a good deal. That is killer. Yes, the Packars do get a little bit better fuel mileage than the Cummins. Well, I don't know about the brand new Cummins. The new Cummins are pretty impressive. And there's two. There's two of the ISX, and one's for heavy haul. It's more about power, and then the second one is more about fuel efficiency. Sorry guys, I'm reading. If you're just listening, the video's still going. I'm just reading the comments here. What's your opinion for gear ratio for Volvo's 860 run in Midwest, 2.64 or 3.808 eco? Getting out of my 680 SFI in 2 weeks, going full maintenance lease. Um, I don't know. I don't know much about gear ratios BNS. Maybe someone else can answer this in here. Um, if you're running just the Midwest, I would think that the Eco would be better, but I don't know anything. My knowledge of Volvos is nil. The first Volvo I had that had a Volvo engine that was a company truck, I only had that for like a few months, and then I was in a Volvo with a Cummins engine for like 3 years, and that was 6 years ago. So, or no, yeah, 6 years ago. So I was in a 660 for quite a while. So my knowledge of Volvos is nil, nada, nothing. So So there you go. There's your answer there. So, but this has been a good video, man. There's been no drama, no trolls. Good discussion. And, yeah, so I appreciate everybody's well wishes. And next Saturday is when you'll find out what the doctor said about my leg. So, by the way, I've been taking extra vitamin D for bone creation. So, I appreciate that, Archie. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Like I said, I have cut down on the live feeds because I needed to. So, Pale Rider, if you're watching, I hope your truck gets fixed easily and quickly. For those of you looking to buy a truck, good luck to you. I can only tell you the things to not to do. It's all attitude, guys. It's all attitude. It's it. Takes a little bit of passion, a little bit of faith, a lot of math, a lot of patience, a lot of sacrifice. So, I appreciate that, Jess. I appreciate that. Guys, thanks for watching. Click on the bell thingy if you liked it. Hit the thumbs down button if you didn't like it, but hit it twice. That will really show me. And, we're going to leave this one up. So, the new YouTube comment settings, I'm not sure how to deal with that yet, but don't forget the retractable pen. I don't have that pen in here. I thought I did, but I didn't. I did buy this, though. You guys remember this stuff? White out. I did buy some of that. Gee, Steve, why'd you buy that? Because there's been a couple of times in the last month that I've needed this and did not have it. A lot of people like to spell my last name wrong. So, the trailer contract, they spelled my name wrong. So, we had to deal with that. I'm out of tea, guys. So, boot camps. Yeah, old school, man. Old school. I never thought about getting that stuff. You prefer Lights Out by UFO. So, anyways, we'll find out next week what's going on with the leg. I'm thinking things are pretty good. I just have to take it easy getting it out of the truck. I got to replace my pigtail, so I got to deal with that. And then, then we're going to go out, put the nose to the ground, and make some money. So, thanks, guys. Take it easy. Have a good night. Good weekend. Be safe. Be good to each other. It's all about attitude to yourself and to each other. So, let's make this world a better place. See ya.